Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Adventure Starts Here podcast. This week, we played UNSIGHTED, a time-sensitive metroidvania made by Studio Pixel Punk. This is a full spoiler discussion. We discuss the narrative in depth, the ending, important items, and plot beats, so please be mindful if you want to play it. There are also some minor spoilers of Nier Automata. Other than that, enjoy the episode. All right, so for this week, we played UNSIGHTED. I don't really have a strong intro for how to begin this, but can someone just like tear into me for apparently choosing a cyborg lesbian game every single week? I don't know what keeps happening, but it keeps happening.
Yeah, do you want to hear what my chosen Steam review of the week is?
Do it.
I picked this because I thought specifically of you. And it simply says, not the first nor even third game with lesbian robots I've played.
So I assume that
That's
means
true.
Nier Automata and Signalis.
1KXR, Signalis in this game.
Yeah.
It just keeps happening. There is some broader theme that's happening in the zeitgeist that is causing people to insert cyborg lesbians into their game.
Well, why not?
Cyberpunk 2077 had it as well.
Yep.
At least this one was actually warranted compared to Signalis, though.
Warranted in what way?
People saying that there's lesbian robots in it and
yeah.
jerking off over it.
I see what you're saying,
definitely-
yeah.
The romance is definitely more front and center compared to Signalis. That's definitely true.
Exactly. Even Thousand X Resist, this game is actually lesbians first.
Yeah, this game is very lesbian forward compared to the other ones.
Yeah, at least they're honest about what's on the tin, you know?
Yep. That being said, I also have a chosen review, but it is not about lesbians.
How'd you find one?
I searched for negative, even though, spoiler, I actually kind of liked the game, but this review spoke to me specifically, and probably others, but it was the first thing that I thought of when I played the game, and it's the thing that I noticed when I saw this review. So it is as follows. The control scheme is so bad, I had to close it through the task manager.
That's a good one. And that's very on brand of a Ben style review.
Yeah. That is a good point, because a lot of my reviews are like that, where it's literally something that happens in the first minute that makes me uninstall the game.
That just really scathing joke at the expense of the developers.
And what is it that we were just talking about that you said you uninstalled because you couldn't close it through the ROG Ally? What was it again?
Oh, Suikoden remaster.
Yeah, so Ben's very consistent.
Oh, yeah. Mine is a little bit funnier, which is just my fucking god, these bitches gay. Good for them. Good for them.
I also loved that one. I thought about picking that one, but I was like, someone's going to pick this one because it's so good.
Okay, I got one. I'll post it in a second, but it says, I'ma just say this whole story feels like it was made by a comedy of wokers. Gameplay was alright, but I can't play this without constantly face palming and sighing.
A comedy of wokers? Like COMITY?
Is that a real word?
So.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. What the fuck?
I assume they mean committee.
What is comedy?
No, that's a word.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. It's like a group of people, basically, or just a group
of wokers. Apparently,
are they really that big brained where they're using this word?
No. That's community, or that's not a committee. That's not him saying comedy.
It is.
Do you know? Are you that guy? Did you write that review? How do you know what he's trying to say?
I just know words.
I think you Googled that afterwards. You didn't sound confident. You were like, yeah, it's a word. Hang on. 15-second pause. And then you Googled it.
Oh my
This guy
God.
hates woke. I think he's a genius and he just knew that word like Thomas, because Thomas is also anti-woke.
That's very true. You can only know words like comedy if you are an enlightened centrist.
Yeah, the second that your skin color isn't white or you're paraplegic in a wheelchair, you just don't know that word anymore.
Also, I feel like it wasn't even that bad in terms of like how often it was there.
Oh yeah,
I
it wasn't
actually
at all.
agree. Yeah, like it didn't really bother me at all.
Yeah, I feel like it never, like the game never has like an in your face kind of message in that way. I feel. I mean, like it's there, but I don't know. Yeah, it didn't bother me that much.
It's just like anyone who complains about this game being woke is fucking cringe. It's literally just a game about a lesbian. Like it's not like trying to preach at you about how good and awesome lesbians are. It's just they happen to be lesbians. That's it. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I think when people say that, they're looking at things like the, black person in a wheelchair, the like Zariah looking chick, the like heavy environmental health like theme that the game has during certain parts. But to anyone that actually complains about that stuff, I just say you're thinking about it too much. Fuck off.
Get fucked.
Yeah, that shit is dumb.
Yeah, so like I feel like I knew some of this literally just like judging a book by its cover, based on what I saw in the Steam page. The thing I did not expect from this game was just how much like when we talked about Who's Lila and ripping off of David Lynch, just how much this game was going to rip off of Zelda games. Like Link to the Past was definitely in there, but there was some Majora's Mask, there was some Twilight Princess. Like it's all over the fucking place. And other than Ben, like Jordan and Thomas, you guys weren't the biggest Zelda guys, at least when we did Tears of the Kingdom. So I'm just kind of curious, did the obvious, at least to me, Zelda inspirations bug you guys, or was it just like it doesn't matter?
Go ahead, Ben. I have food in my mouth.
I guess to me, it didn't really bother me because I have zero nostalgia for Zelda. I grew up a Sega kid, so the only like Zelda things I really knew about were like the fairy yapping all the time, which pissed me off. And there's also like a sound effect that sounded very Zelda-like that was reused very often, usually for like hints and stuff. But overall, like when it comes to like wearing your inspiration on your sleeve, to me it was like all about Hyper Light Drifter, where the visual style was just completely cribbed. And I actually think that this game looks better in certain aspects and worse in others. Primarily the characters specifically. I don't know if we want to get into that right now. Maybe later.
Yeah, I mean, it is pretty like Zelda-esque, but I don't know. I don't take as much issues with the game for the things it copied about Zelda rather than the things that it copied about just like stamina systems and platforming while having bad platforming controls and things like that, which I don't think is necessarily the Zelda inspiration. I think it might just be not knowing to tighten those things up, or at least, or maybe just not wanting it and not jiving with me in a game like this.
Yeah, I would agree. I didn't really feel like this game was like plagiaristic insofar as like Zelda is concerned. I feel like there's actually like a lot of things here that it borrows from. Like it borrows from a very wide array of things, and I don't think it like breaches plagiarism, but part of that is also just because I think that the design of this game is just kind of like a little bit ho hum, to be honest with you. A little bit boring, a little bit dry. So I think they might have been better served plagiarizing a little more.
Yeah, I think that was like maybe my issue with like the core gameplay loop. I think the lowest point I got in this game was kind of around the midsection from the second to the fourth dungeon. I thought the game started strong and I thought it ended strong, but the middle was pretty close to bad. And I think a lot of that is, for me at least, like what I was seeing is that it was taking a lot of those things from Zelda, like things like the hook shot, obviously, the double hook shot, the spinner, the boomerang, like all of the items in these dungeons were like one to one stolen from Zelda, like with zero innovation. And so for me, that just really bothered me because of what you were saying, where despite stealing all of these things, like that middle section was still just kind of ho hum boring to me. I would think that if they're stealing stuff from another series, that they would innovate on it a little bit, and I never got that feeling.
I like the wall cling. The wall cling was cool.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah, and I liked when you got to like dual wield them, and then you basically could just go anywhere you wanted.
Yeah.
I thought that was awesome. Like a pretty good reward for like finally getting all the way through the game and just making it easy to like backtrack or find new places, like those bottomless pits you'd always run into at the beginning, and you're like, why the fuck are these here? And then when you get that double hook shot, they're like, oh, that's why.
Yeah, there's like a sense of like coming across like things where it's like I obviously have to be able to swim here or like cross water somehow, but I can't do that yet. Or I have to be able to cross pits somehow, but I can't do that yet. Where coming back later on after you have like the means to do it actually was like fairly satisfying and in a very definitely Zelda-esque kind of way.
One of the things that I thought was really cool on this game, and part of the reason I liked the like back quarter of the game so much, is I realized after some looking things up, and this might only be true of the hook shot, but I think it's true for a lot of other stuff. Like with the hook shot, for example, you find the blueprint for it, right? You don't need the blueprint in order to craft the hook shot or like anything. Like if you know the blueprint, you can just craft it, which means that this game seems like it would be really fun for speedrunning because you already know the blueprint. You played the game, you looked it up. You can just craft the double hook shot at the start of the game, and that seems really cool to me.
There's another thing like that, not related to like a power up. Well, it is, but in a different way, where like you get the what is it, what is it, like the double jump? I forget, or like the wall cling, whatever it is. But like unbeknownst to me, for like the first 90% of the game, I didn't know that you could like wall jump to like other walls
Yep.
until you got to like that tutorial in like the last dungeon, and then I realized that that power was there for the entire game, and I just never used it because I didn't know. But if I were to play the game again, I could just start doing that from the very beginning and get to like so many different places that I didn't even think I could get to.
Yeah, that it reminded me of Tunic when it did that, and with the blueprint thing that I described. And I wish that the game uh like leaned into that a little bit more because I think it does do that pretty well.
Yeah, I actually thought that was really cool because I could be wrong. I don't think I am though. That I don't think there is ever a point in the game in which they tell you about the wall jump until they do, like towards the end of the game. So it was kind of like a I don't know. I thought it was kind of cool that you basically go through the whole game with these high jump boots, but unbeknownst to you, until the game tells you, like towards the end, it had this like whole other function that kind of made me think, like, damn, what could I have done with this, like back into like
Right.
until now. I thought that was pretty cool, just like hiding a mechanic.
Yeah, just in plain fucking sight.
Did you guys know that you can also fully refill your stamina by double tapping dash?
Wait, what?
Yeah, it's just a thing. It does a little animation and everything.
Yeah, I did figure that one out like much later on.
No, I didn't think too much of stamina because I used the journalist mode where it just gave you like a lot of extra stamina.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah, same.
I fucking raw dogged this game. I didn't disable anything. I didn't enable any of the journalist stuff. I didn't change any of the control scheme. I fucking clicked start game and played until it was over.
So since I think you're the only one that did that, I have a question for you. Like, how did you feel about that? Did you actually like micromanage the reputations and
No.
stuff and like keep them alive, or did you just like want to see who was alive by the end?
Like it might have been that there was some amount of like W holding because like you do obviously feel that time pressure. So I was playing pretty quick. And once you figure out how to like move pretty quickly with the stamina thing, like the secret is to just equip the core thingy that says you don't use stamina when you run, and that just basically removes any like movement issues. But um, obviously with that time pressure, you do tend to like W hold a little more than I would have normally for sure. But doing that, I never once felt like threatened by that timer. I think I got like maybe two, maybe three alerts that said so and so's like timer is under 24 hours, and I just went back to the town and gave them a couple meteor dust and moved on with my life. Like by the so I don't know how this works if you disable the mechanic, but there's that NPC that shouts at you at the top of the cathedral. And what they do is they will literally murder an NPC and add their time to yours. And so I hated the fucking dog so much. It was just pissing me off how much that thing was constantly yelling at me to feed it, to sleep, to anything. It just drove me nuts. So the only NPC that died in my game is the fucking dog keeper because I just murdered them to get their 300 hours added to my own total.
Yeah, I played this game natty as well. I did not change any settings or use journalist mode or anything, and I think my experience was pretty similar. I never really had to worry about people dying because I was just beating the game faster than I had to worry about it. There were a couple people that I gave meteor dust to. It didn't feel super impactful for the vast majority of the game. Like I had that same experience where I just saw the notification and I was either like whatever because I didn't care, or it was like a vendor that I didn't want to die or whatever, and it was just kind of a neutral feeling for most of the game. And I think it also has what you were getting at, where you almost feel disincentivized from doing side content because it feels like the game wants you to speed run it, because like all of these people are going to slowly die. The meteor dust is a limited resource, so I better just like finish the game ASAP. That being said, and again, another reason that I liked the back like quarter of this game is that I was pretty close to having Navi die, the little robot that is your like tutty bot, and I almost just let him die because they were just annoying for the most part. But I decided to give them a bunch of meteor dust, got them to full hearts, and the benefit you get for doing that was actually pretty cool. It starts like joining you in combat and like hitting things with you, and I thought that was a really cool like upgrade that you can get. And I don't know if the other vendors are like that, where if you get them to 4 hearts, they like do cool stuff. But if there's more like that, then
They
I think I
are.
like the system.
Yeah, I think everyone gives you something when you get their meteor dust heart meter thing to max. Like one of them gives you a core that takes up 3 slots and gives you like 6 health or something, which is fucking awesome. It's pretty broken actually. Like I didn't really worry about combat in this game at all, but once I got that, I really didn't worry about it. Um, yeah, every single NPC does something when you get them maxed out, which I also thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, I only knew about one of them. Not that I did it because I disabled the mechanic before I even knew what it was. But there is an NPC that talks about how like, if you do something special, you gain the ability to be able to like change your loadout wherever instead of having to go to a save point, which was almost a goad for doing it for just giving them the meteor dust. But I still just didn't bother because I just didn't want to fast travel to a town and talk to the NPCs. I mostly just didn't want to talk to people in this game at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, same. I did as much as I could to not really interface with like the story or the narrative of this game because I mean, it's not even that it was like bad, it was just like it didn't add anything. It felt kind of pointless and I didn't really want to engage with it cuz it was just uninteresting to be honest.
Yeah, so concerning like the story of Unsighted, I guess to preface, I didn't actually hate the story, but like it was like really off-putting still, where it felt a little campy because it's got like some real Captain Planet energy going on, and the visuals definitely
Oh
don't help
yeah.
with that impression either. But at the same time, the plot takes itself like super fucking seriously,
Mhm. Yeah.
and even with that, I still couldn't like I tolerated the story and the narrative and the characters, but I couldn't fully buy into it. And the reason why is because the characters look like they're from Sesame Street, and then when it all comes together, it's like a Timu near Automata. Like that's my whole read on like what
Yeah.
this game's story was.
I actually agree that this game's narrative like steals a weird amount of beats from Automata even though it's like a completely different story with a completely different vibe, but like there's like NPC stand-ins for like Pascal, which was weird. Um, but yeah, I'm starting to grow really tired of these like really cynical, really jaded, really just nihilistic, wah, humans are bad storylines where it's like look at this, our world fell apart because climate change. Oh, humans are shit. It's like, okay, cool. What is this doing about like
Mhm.
anyone's like lived experience other than just making everyone feel bad? And this game is like part and parcel that.
Yeah, I think the reason that something like Nier Automata is so good despite that is because the ending message is very strong. I don't feel like this game had a very strong ending message to like go home with.
Well, I think the difference is that Nier Automata is never criticizing or damning humans. It is actually looking at what it means to be a human. It's not saying, "Wah, humans suck." It's saying what actually is a human and how are these robots like reflective of those qualities. This game doesn't do any of that and it doesn't leave you on any sort of like hopeful message other than like the lovers got back together and now the robots are like alive and thriving in their villages or whatever. There's never a single point in the story that I could tell where it was like, yeah, you know what, humans not so bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I think when it's kind of like disconnected and it's just kind of like a thing that you care about a little bit. So like I think like the game that I think has like a kind of climate change focus that's like isn't like ew is like Final Fantasy 7, and that's like the only one I can really think of. Like, that might just be before it was like cool to shit on climate change or not cool, but like the newest trend to shit on it. But yeah, every time a game does any kind of thing like that where it's just like what's the point of doing this other than just talking shit, just feels cringe and awful.
Yeah, it's such low hanging fruit, you know? Like it's an extraordinarily easy metaphor to apply. It's really easy to make yourself like to elevate yourself to where look, I care. I'm active, I care. And it's just really really lazy.
Yeah, it's just like the definition of like, I don't know if this is a term, but like lazy activism, where it's like you're creating something with a message, but you're not actually doing anything about it. You're just quote unquote raising awareness.
Yeah, and like things have done climate change as a metaphor well. And like I mean, I got my fucking degree in environmental science. Like, I give a shit about climate change, obviously, but it's just really annoying when it's just handled so like clunkily and heavy-handedly the way that it is in this game and many, 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 many others.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important, like in a game, just like real life, like you need to take it with like the seriousness that it has and the fact that it's like it is a very complex topic, right? Like we're balancing the health of the planet with like the thriving of the human species, but it feels like a lot of these games that try to tackle that with a message don't try to go that extra step, and it just does what you said, like, oh yeah, humans bad, we killing the planet, oh noes.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's just easy at the end of the day. It's just a really, really easy metaphor to staple onto your story.
Well, I do want to say, despite never feeling like super engaged with the story, I thought this after seeing one of the questions Thomas wrote, which was, what sort of sociopath would not carry Raquel? I don't actually know how to pronounce it. Raquel with them at the end. And I'm definitely the kind of gamer where if I just absolutely don't give a shit about a character, then I'm never going to like go the extra step for something like that. But I feel like I actually did care enough about some of these characters to do that, and I did, and I did carry her to the end, and I kind of felt that way with the Navi, the fairy robot that follows you around. Like I got them up to full hearts, and it was kind of, like a little, a tiny bit touching when they're like, "Oh, thank you so much for like actually saving me. I thought you were just gonna let me die, so I appreciate it." Like, I don't know. I felt like the game did do a decent job of making me care about the characters, even if I didn't think they were particularly well written.
Yeah, I agree. Like I actually did kind of like a little bit buy into their like internal like character connections by the end. The start was rough though. I did not give a shit at the beginning. It was a bond that grew over time, and maybe bond is
Hmm.
the wrong word or a very strong word for what I felt, but I felt something that was more than zero.
Yeah, it was there for sure.
Yeah, I don't really care so much about the characters or anything. I just more like how things resolved because I was expecting for the just kind of the normal ending to be some shitty thing where like everybody died, and then you're gonna have to do some super ending where you like rolled back time to like before when humans died or something, and it was gonna be extra time that I was just gonna YouTube rather than like put time into doing. But the fact that it was like, hey, here's like a resolved and nice ending, but like there's still something that they need to do, I was like, oh. So like that actually like made the experience much better for me because yeah, if it kind of just had me do more bullshit to get like a resolution, I would have liked the game significantly less.
Speaking to that, did any of you guys do like the true ending stuff or did you look it
No,
up?
I
No, I looked it
googled it.
up.
I saw the AI overview, and I think I saw that it involved like getting all your data deleted, and your save data, like in near, and I was like, no, I'm good.
Yeah,
God damn it.
I only looked up some of them and I kind of gave up. Like you get like I think the main thing that you get is like you can roll back time to save everybody who would have died. But I don't think there's anything more than that. There might be, but I kind of just gave up looking once I saw like the extra boss fight thing was like a whatever the fuck at the end.
Yeah, isn't it just the normal final boss, just like a little harder?
Yeah.
Speaking to that, this is how little I paid attention to the story of this game. Who the fuck is the final boss? Who is that guy? Where'd they come from? What'd they do? Why are they there? Etc. They're like a fucking alien that came to Earth or some shit. I did not understand who that guy was.
I think it was like a meteor. So I don't either. Just I might have self-inserted all of this shit, like just my own lore. But I thought it was like a meteor that hit Earth that brought an alien to it that had anima, and the anima poisons the humans or whatever and powers the robots.
Yeah, that was pretty much my understanding, but the characterization of that final villain is definitely not strong.
So
In other words, non-existent.
The story of this game is like pretty much literally just near then, to be honest. Or, well, Automata specifically.
Like, the final boss represents what? Like Adam and Eve?
No, I'm not.
Aliens?
I'm just saying in terms of like aliens came to Earth and just like fucked a bunch of shit up and then lived there for a long time, and then there's all of these automatons that they left behind, and like all of the like random unnecessary parallels to Nier seem very, I don't know, egregious.
Yeah, I feel like now that I've played enough games, like especially for this podcast, like when certain games like this or Crowsworn came out, I just can't help but like see through and see what they're doing and disappreciate the amount of things that they're taking from other games if they don't do it well.
Yeah, I mean, like, art is built on inspiration. All art is theft, blah, blah, blah. But there has to be, like, I don't know. You
It's
have
the
to be, like,
execution, right?
it's
Gotta
the
add something.
It's the execution. You have to be adding something to the conversation. Like, this game didn't add anything to any conversation, to be honest. Like, and my main criticism of this game would just be that it was like the most milquetoast shit I think I've ever played, both in narrative and in gameplay. It was just like, it wasn't bad and it wasn't remarkable. It was just kind of like right there. It was a thing that I played and something that like this time next year I don't think I will have remembered spending any amount of time with, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think I do kind of want to comment on the gameplay a little bit though, because I think like you guys, I was pretty down on it for about again the first like 3/4 of the game or so. But I think at that last bit, I kind of started to understand what it was doing, at least with the stamina system, which I know some of you guys turned off. But I started to appreciate just how limiting the stamina system was because it was encouraging you to do other things. Like the idea of, oh, okay, my stamina is low, so now I'm going to run and gun until it comes back up. I think that's cool. Or like, I'm low on stamina, so I'm going to parry now. And like, once I'm done parrying, I can go back into my slash stuff. It meant there was like some fundamental limits to like build diversity. Like, I felt like I just could not use an axe, for example. But I didn't hate the stamina as much as I thought I would.
Yeah, I actually agree with everything there. I never really felt like too bothered by stamina. Maybe in like the very beginning, but after a while, it didn't really feel too limiting. And honestly, this game's already easy enough without having to turn that shit off.
Also true.
Yeah,
I'll never like a stamina system permanently. I think they're trash and just kind of like arbitrary limits to having fun.
I mean, it's not an arbitrary limit. It's like designed to like inhibit your ability to just sit there and mash the button until the boss is dead. Like it's there to like force certain play patterns. I wouldn't call it arbitrary.
It's definitely arbitrary, but that's neither here nor there. Like, why is it 5 attacks instead of 6?
Why is it arbitrary? It is there in order to like again invoke a certain restriction on your play pattern so that you have to like think a little more dynamically than just whack 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 whack. Okay, boss is dead. You have to go whack whack whack. Okay, I either like overspent my stamina and now I'm fucked and I'm gonna have to eat a hit, or I like did this properly and I can like back off and play defensively for a second, or oh shit, I didn't leave myself enough stamina to run away, now I can't jump. Like there's definitely a point to it. It's not arbitrary.
How much stamina you have is an arbitrary system. Why is it the exact amount of stamina that you have?
I don't know. I don't have access to their GDD. I have no fucking idea.
Yeah, but I don't like gameplay restrictions like that, and I probably never will in any game. it just feels like it's a way to limit the player that's not a fun thing. Like you're basically stopping the player. Like you can hit the boss if you had more of this resource. Why not just make it so that the boss is going to hit you, and that's why you can't hit the boss anymore, or make it so that the boss like you have to do something else to engage with the boss. I definitely don't like when it's tied to movement. When I attack too much and now I move slower, like that shit is unforgivable for me.
I mean, I think what I appreciate about it, and maybe not in this game as much, this game has some of this, but like in some of the Souls games, for example, I like the idea of being able to overcome that restriction that the game is imposing on me by like upgrading my endurance stat or wearing lighter armor. Like one of my favorite things about like Dark Souls 1 specifically is like, okay, I never want to get hit by enemies anyways because I'm just going to die, so I'm just not going to wear any armor, and now I have like infinite endurance. This feels great. And I think when you impose like restrictions like that, but also give options to alleviate it, is when it can be good because it just makes the system more dynamic. I don't think this game does a great job of it, but it is there with the chips.
Yeah, I do agree. Because, like, especially like with the cogs, right? Like, I felt like the cogs did a lot to, like, basically alleviate a lot of that pain with the stamina bar, especially. But I do agree with your point that at no point did I ever feel like I could have used an axe.
Yeah, like there was a certain point where I realized, like, for a big part of the game, I thought that I just had to have like a melee weapon in my main hand and like a ranged weapon in my offhand. I thought it was just like restricted, but then I realized, oh, I can have like two swords equipped and I can go slash 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 slash, and that's cool. And then I tried to do it with an axe, and I was like slash slam. Oh, I'm out of endurance. Oh, that kind of sucks.
Yeah, I tried to do stuff where I would like leap attack because leap attacking always felt like the strongest thing to do, and then like hold it down and do a charge, but it was like slow, and then by the time I did that, I was out of stamina. And yeah, they definitely I'm not going to argue that this game is a good application of a stamina system because the axe I think is kind of the proof in the pudding, but I don't mind stamina systems just in a vacuum. As long as they're done like tastefully.
And as you guys mentioned, I also thought the equipment system was like, why is this even here? I don't know. Like, there's two weapons, and like switching between loadouts and everything is annoying as hell. And like the sub weapons are all weird. Like the what is it called? The shuriken like controls really weird and like is almost like motion sickness inducing. Like I thought like everything
that's
related
fair.
to like sub weapons and everything was just like no good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when I was trying to like use the ice shuriken to go over water or lava, and I was trying to like throw it at the same time that I'm following the path, I definitely got that feeling of motion sickness. That's a good
Yeah.
shout.
Yeah, and the weird thing about that, like, that whole loadout system is I think it was added after the fact. It was not there on release because I remember when I first booted up the game, they showed like a bunch of patch notes, like before you start, and one of the updates was adding that or that loadout system where you could change your loadout with the D-pad. And I was just wondering what it's like to play this game without that, because I had a
Oh
loadout.
God.
I had one loadout specifically with like exploration tools in both hands,
Yeah.
and if you weren't able to just like switch to that will and you had to go into a menu every time, I would have uninstalled this fucking game
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
fast.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
Ocarina of Time shit, basically.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
game desperately needed a like I don't know, like a La Mulana style like sub weapon
Yeah.
button where you just like scroll through the different like tools or whatever. Like that would have fixed literally everything for
There
me
was
at least.
there was so many times where I was like, all right, time to use an ice grenade, and then I throw the shuriken. I was like, fuck. All right, time to shoot this guy. And I throw the shuriken, and now the camera's moving, and I'm vomiting.
Yeah, another thing too that drove me crazy about switching the loadouts with the D-pad is that like it just cycled through them when you press the D-pad. It wasn't like D-pad left is A, up is B, right is C. It was like it doesn't matter what you do, it's just gonna go A B C A B C A B C,
Yeah.
which is fucking irritating.
It was funny when I noticed that when I like I figured that out. I was like, "What the hell? Why is this multiple buttons?"
That's really strange.
That said though, I actually I did think that there was some good ideas in this game, I think. Like as far as the stuff that it stole from Zelda, as far as dungeoneering and like here's the item, solve the rest of the dungeon with the item, probably never use the item again. Like I think it actually executed on that decently well cuz um I think I might be the only one here maybe who actually did think that the dungeon design of this game was like decent. I think the overall map and the overall navigation was terrible, but like the discrete dungeons themselves were pretty good, I thought. I even liked the factory with like the Haley shit. I thought that there was like there were some good ideas. I'm not gonna say it was executed super well, but I think that they were definitely onto something when they were designing the dungeons.
Yeah, I think my main issue, because like I'm kind of where you're at. They were like decent. There were some high points. I think my main issue is that they never really all came together cohesively. Where like I this game had the setup like identical setup to like Link to the Past. Like you do all the little dungeons and then you have the big tower at the end. You have Ganon's tower at the end, right? And Ganon's tower is a fucking 10 out of 10 dungeon in any game ever. It combines like every single mechanic that you've seen throughout the rest of the game, adds challenges on top, adds like boss gauntlets and all this stuff, and it's great. This game just had like enemy gauntlet at the end instead of like combining a bunch of the different mechanics that you saw in the different dungeons, and I just thought that was kind of lame. Like you're in a tower, you could use the mechanic from the first dungeon where you fall into the lower rooms, and yeah, it's just missed opportunity in that sense. But I do agree that like the core mechanical ideas that they had were acceptably good.
You need to make sure though that if you're gonna fall into the room, you need to have a tutorial to tell me that every single time, because I might have forgotten.
God, that was so annoying. Why the hell? I mean, I'm just gonna blame it on like inexperienced programmers or game devs or whatever, not putting all of their tutorials into like a single list or whatever the fuck. But dear God, was that frustrating to have to see the same tutorial like 5 times.
I like when I got the ultimate. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Ben.
There was only one of those that I actually appreciated, and that's when I went to an area and the fairy would come out and say, "I don't think we have the tool to explore this area."
Oh, sure,
yet."
yeah.
Agreed.
That's the only one I liked, but the one that pissed me off the most is whenever you run into like those huge mutant
Yeah.
monsters that like
Oh,
anyone
yeah.
who's not a retard already killed one at the very beginning of the game because it's easy, and the fairy be like, "Oh my god, it's one of those. We have to run away." It's like, what are you talking about, bitch?
Yeah, how many of those did you guys kill in the very beginning? I'm just curious. I felt
Every
like I was
single one I saw.
Yeah. Like it's like a forced death, right? Because I just like kept killing them and they don't stop coming and they don't stop coming.
Yeah,
I'm one of the retards that Ben was referencing.
So
yeah. In the beginning, so I played this game on launch, and I remember doing that on launch. So I just died instantly this time.
It was giving me whatever the currency is called, so I felt incentivized to keep going, but yeah.
How many of the dudes did you kill at the end of the game when it gave you like the weapon upgrade?
a lot of them, because I just wanted to see the number go up.
Same. That was my favorite
Yeah,
part
I
of the
thought that
game,
was
and I'm
awesome.
not even kidding. That was the best part
It
of the
was sick.
gameplay for me.
I killed like 2 because they were close to the village, and it was like I saw that all it did was raise your damage by 1, and it already did like 35 damage or something, and I was like, nah, I'm just gonna beat this fucking game now.
Yeah, I did 21 on the overworld. I was having a great time.
I feel like that's the kind of thing where if I was playing in a more completionist sense, I would actually enjoy it a lot because I would just fucking crush everything by the end of the game.
Exactly. It was great.
And like you would probably be doing a lot of those as you're doing like side quests and stuff, I would assume.
Not me. I was just like, where are the things? I want the number higher.
Yeah, that's exactly what I
Big
did.
number.
I just opened up the map and it showed
Yep.
all the icons of where they were, and I just went straight to them and killed them
just
all.
went on a massacre, yeah.
That sounds like didn't play with meteor dust on privilege to me.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I would have just let the villagers die.
I don't think that there was really like any downside to doing that other than like the ending slideshow
Yeah.
or whatever. Because it made me feel bad about like Tobias or the fucking like ugly ass, creepy ass looking shopkeeper was for where the dogs are. But other than that, I don't think letting them die mattered at all unless you like didn't buy something from them you needed or whatever.
Exactly. I had zero empathy for any characters in this game. I didn't care at all. I didn't turn it off because of that. I turned it off because I wanted to buy the fucking vials and I wanted to sleep whenever the dog did, and I didn't want to deal with like finding meteor dust to keep me alive. Because I assume it's just like a game over if you die.
I will say the game gives you like significantly more meteor dust than you're ever really going to need. As long as you do like the bare minimum that the game's asking you
Yeah.
to do, I finished the game with like 15 in my inventory or something.
I think, like Sash, you mentioned not caring about any of the characters, and I definitely didn't either, which is why I didn't really fuck around with the meteor dust giving to NPCs either. And I feel like I'm going to assume that this is true for the rest of the NPCs, but I think that this game makes a mistake where you only get those kind of like heartfelt, like heartwarming pieces of dialogue from NPCs if you give them the meteor dust. Because they're
Sure.
like, oh, thank you for saving my life. Like, oh, this means so much. But it's like, I feel no incentive to do that because you didn't make me care about these characters. So it's like cart before the horse.
I will say, if the NPCs go below like 24 hours, when you go up to them, they're going to be like keeled over on the ground. And when you interact with them, they're going to be like, oh, what's your name? I didn't want you to see me like this, which is kind of a cool touch.
Okay, that's fair. I never saw that. That is cool.
Yeah, like they enter into a oh fuck I'm about to die, please like just leave me alone and let me die phase in the last, I think it's 24 hours. That makes sense anyway, but yeah, I think even if you like give them meteor dust after that, you still get all the same like dialogue and stuff.
Yeah, I think that is like a good example of something I think is true for a lot of this game, which is it's kind of just enough at like every stage of the game. It never goes like past what I would want it to be, but it kind of just like has all of the things, you know? Like I feel like they thought of a lot of stuff, they just didn't implement them very well.
Yeah, like to me this game is a really really big exercise in like doing just enough but like missing that like last little bit of polish to really push it over the edge into something like really great.
There was one thing I thought that they did really great that I hope like other developers copy, just one very little thing, and that is like the ending, or specifically like the ending slides. So I was thinking about how like CRPGs would be pretty lazy and just have just the ending slides be just paragraphs of text, and I like the way they did in this game where it was just like a panning environmental shot describing all the people, like the outcomes of your decisions, and what I really mean is like how many people were left alive. And I just feel like other CR like not that this is a CRPG, but CRPGs are the games that I levy this criticism against most because I just think ending slides are really lazy. And if like I know that CRPG companies generally don't have the biggest budgets, but I don't think Studio Pixel Punk had a big budget either, and they were able to make something interesting that had the functionality of ending slides. So if they could do it, then y'all can do it too. Like there's no excuse.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I agree. I think the ending slides were again decent.
Yeah, I'm not saying that they're like mind blowing, but I think it shows that like there's ways to do it that aren't just really
Yeah,
lazy
I mean,
looking.
Yeah.
let's be real. This game had more of an ending like bow put on it than Baldur's Gate 3 did when that game got released. So
Yeah.
Although that's true, I'm sure that sounds like a hot take to a lot of people.
it's I mean, it's not true now. It was definitely true on release though. On release the ending was ass fuck.
Yeah, it was quite bad. There were a lot of endings, but they were not good endings.
How do you guys feel about the parry mechanic overall? Like I felt like it trivialized the game too much because the timing window to get a perfect parry was huge, and if by some like act of mental fucking in lack of acuity you didn't hit the perfect timing, you still got like 3x extra frames on either end to fucking get like a different kind of parry where you just don't take damage. I felt like the gameplay of this game would have been actually a lot more fun if they had toned that shit just way down, pretty much. Like maybe expand the perfect window, but remove all of the don't take damage window. I have no fucking idea, but as is, like the parry button was just so goddamn strong that I never at any point in this game, mostly during boss fights, really felt like I was in any sort of danger.
I think it's fine the way it is, and that's mostly because it was just frustrating me personally, specifically in the boss fights when a bunch of ads appear. and then it turns into like Arkham Asylum combat kinda, and I just wouldn't want to like really concentrate on parrying all those enemies at the same time. So, and another thing about the parries is that I actually like the way they did it. It might be too easy, like in a timing sense, too lenient, but I do like the indicator that they use where it flashed red, because the big problem I have with these like lo-fi indie games that have parrying is that there's never enough frames of animation for me to like properly get a good telegraph or feel that I do. So I just feel like it's unfair when I just get hit because I just hate the timing. But just having that red flash just solved that problem for me and maybe made it too easy. But I'd rather take that over getting really pissed off and uninstalling the game.
I chose to not parry because, yeah, basically what you said, Tom. After I noticed how lenient the window was, I was like, this doesn't seem like it's going to be fun to interface with, so I just dodged it instead, and it was more enjoyable.
Yeah, I feel like it did trivialize the game a little bit too much. That's not fundamentally a bad thing. Like, it is not a bad thing that you have options to easily take down bosses, in my opinion. I like the feeling of being incredibly powerful because I'm like halfway decent at parries. The one thing I definitely don't think it needed though was I think Thomas was describing this, the like forgiveness window where if you did it slightly too early, you still get the parry, but you don't get like the critical damage, and they just wind up another attack, and then you can do it because it's a lot easier with that timing. I think that was kind of a mistake because, yeah, why am I ever not parrying if I don't do that? But I think it's good that it's in the game. I think it's better than the monotony of just like slash slash run and gun slash slash run and gun. I think it's good that it's in the game, but it could be a little better.
Yeah, agree with all the above. I think the problem with like not playing with infinite stamina is that it felt kind of compulsory to do those because the critical hit damage was like so fucking high that like you pretty much just you didn't have to do it, but you were very much incentivized to do it.
Yeah.
It's not
But-
infinite stamina, it's like 2x stamina, 2x starting stamina.
Okay, that's a little less egregious than I thought. It just straight up removed the bar.
Nah, it makes it like twice as long.
I don't know. I personally thought like I got good dopamine out about landing the parries because I just liked instantly depleting their health bars, whereas otherwise I feel like some of the monsters would just take way too long to kill.
Yeah, that's
No,
why I
yeah,
don't
for
think it's like
sure.
fundamentally a bad thing. I just think that it too easily rewards you for it to the point that it's like the only thing you should do.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
like I'll be honest, I just don't like parry mechanics in games very much,
Same.
and like kind of the same way that I don't like dodge roll mechanics at all, because it's like you've seen one, you've seen them all, and like the only real way to create any sort of dynamism with those mechanics is to like expand or shrink the timing windows, and that is like how you control the difficulty slider of the game, is just by how tight do you want to make the windows on these like rhythmic button presses. And I don't find that enjoyable personally, but also this game just made it so goddamn easy to where like you wouldn't really have to move to beat any of the bosses in this game. You could literally just stand still, press your parry button, and then go swing at them and just not do anything else. And that's, I don't know. That's
Yeah.
very, very boring.
Yeah, I like parry systems when you don't have to worry about the dexterity about also moving around the room. So kind of like how Clair Obscure has it, where it's turn-based, but then you do a dexterity check like in the middle of a fight, rather than you're having to manage positioning as well as like this really tight timing window. Because I think if it's too loose, that's what this game is, where it's just like it's too good. Like, so why would you not do it outside of like personal restrictions?
Yeah, I think that is a good point. That like a game like Clair Obscure does it fine. And the thing that I like about Clair Obscure is it's got two different versions of it, right? You've got like the
Yeah.
parry and just the dodge, where you can play this like risk reward game, like however you want to or whatever. And that is more interesting than just like, yeah, turning it into Bloodborne or fucking Dark Souls or whatever.
This game does have that option because you can jump to dodge things rather than parry.
Can you jump everything? I didn't know that.
Yep.
I thought there was just certain
Yep.
attacks you had to jump.
No,
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, jump has iframes.
No, I didn't even think about doing that.
Yeah, that's
I
all
actually
did
love the
because
jump in this game.
Yeah, I thought the parry was too easy, like you guys said. So I was like, I don't want to do that. So I'll just jump dodge things, and it made the boss fights more fun for sure. At
Yeah,
least
I
I
thought
think
you,
so.
I thought you could only do that for the attacks where it was like obvious, like you had to
Right,
do
the ones you had to
something.
jump. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, I think like what you were talking with the parry mechanics. There's not a lot of games I think that do it super well. And I don't think you guys like Sekiro as much as I do, but I think that game's parry mechanics are very good. It's kind of funny going from like something like Dark Souls to Bloodborne, and it's just like, okay, in Dark Souls you have to hit the parry button when the attack would hit you. Okay.
Mhm.
Oh, now they're innovating in Bloodborne. You have to hit them with the parry right before they would hit you. Oh wow, how exciting! But something like Sekiro, or I guess Nine Souls, which I haven't played, turns it into like an actual rhythm game where you like have to learn the like specific move sets, and it's like, okay, boop boop boop, but then delay, boop boop boop, and like that's really fun to learn, I
do you,
think.
do you like attack in the direction in Sekiro?
What do you mean?
So, like, do you know how like chivalry to parry and chivalry and Mordhau, if they're attacking like top right to bottom left, you have to attack bottom left to top right, and then that parries the attack.
It doesn't have that, but there are multiple types of parries.
Gotcha.
There, I know there's two. There might be a third one I'm not thinking of,
Sure.
but there's like the regular ones where you just press your like block button, and then there are crap, I can't remember the name of them, but like a special animation plays above the enemy, and it'll be like a spear pierce attack where they're like shoving it forward, and you actually have to do a forward jump, and you'll like step on their spear, and it's like a super parry, that kind of
Sure.
thing. So it's not exactly what you're saying, but there's more dynamicism than just press the block button.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like when it's just press the block button, like how this game was.
And there's also attacks like, you're like the boss might shoot out a big like flame wave at you, and you can't parry it, obviously, so you have to jump over it or something like that.
Yeah. I think this game was kind of designed to be more kind of like a Ninja Gaiden kind of fuck you game until you got to the point where you can just have so much health and so much like healing and everything that like combat was trivial no matter what you did basically. So it was weird.
Yeah,
I feel like the
it's funny we talk about how like easy this game is and how the parry like trivializes things and blah blah blah, but like going through the Steam reviews today, like there are a lot of people who found this game fucking hard. Like not just because they got lost during exploration or whatever, but like getting their ass kicked in combat. So like
yeah.
it's hard for me to balance how like ridiculously easy I found this game with also trying to figure out how the hell anyone would have found this game difficult, to be honest.
The only way I could imagine it being difficult is if you didn't rebind the controls, because, like, I don't even know how a human is supposed to play with those
Oh,
default
true.
controls.
They are
I,
so
pl-
bad.
I played with default controls.
Oh,
I
you're
also
Didn't change
crazy.
I
anything.
also played with default controls. Like
You're
I
got-
said,
crazy.
I didn't
Oh my God.
I didn't change a single option in this game. I clicked start game and I don't even know what the options UI looks like.
I could tell
Ugh.
you it wasn't a great experience, but it didn't bother me enough to the point of where I had felt like I had to move the buttons around.
Yeah, like I mean I got used to everything. Like sprint on square was a little fucking odd, but other than that,
Wait,
it all
what was
kinda
the
got
jump button? Was the jump button A?
yeah.
Okay, then I didn't rebind anything. That would have been the only thing I rebound.
Yeah, I don't know. I felt like I was playing a completely different game after I rebound. I felt like I was a god after I rebounded controls. And before I felt like I was, I don't know. I can't, the Overton window has not moved far enough for me to say what I really feel.
Yeah, I could see how people could say it's tough, especially like early game. Like things do a lot of damage. You don't have a lot of tools. I think the chip system is like boring and like I think it's worse than like an equip system made in like 1993. I think it's just like literally just worse than having like a helmet slot and a chest slot and leg slots. Like I think it's a regression to those things. Like I hated the chip system personally. So I could see people just kind of having real difficulties because the early game at least is like real Ninja Gaiden high number damage kind of thing.
So did you hate the whatever the hell the system was called in Expedition 33. Then the name's not coming to me.
Lumina.
Lumina, yeah.
No, because there's like a much higher ceiling. Like in this game, you get like 14 slots, and it's stupid shit like increases your attack, increases your stamina, increases your health. Like there's no choices. It's like, do I want more health? Do I want more attack? Like I don't know.
Yeah, it's very
There's-
binary.
It's so boring, and it's not even like cool in the sense of like when you would find like ice boots or something, and you're like, oh shit, it looks cool. It's just chips. It's squares, and they're colored. Like it's I hated the chip system.
Yeah, I think Clair Obscur does a really good job of like giving you a lot of build variety in what it's doing. But is there an example in this game of a chip that doesn't just increase a base stat? I don't think
Yeah,
there
there's a
is.
couple. There's a couple that I use, like the one where hitting with melee attacks reloads your guns. I liked that one.
Oh, yeah, that one's good.
The
That's
best
about it,
one,
really.
the best one in the game is the one that removes the stamina cost from running.
Oh yeah, I use that too. But outside of that, I just did plus stamina, plus health, plus power.
Yeah,
I keep forgetting that one is a chip because I put it on and never took it off.
Yeah, same.
I don't know. I just think it's like a terribly simple system in a year that like that's so antiquated. Something like that. It's the same thing with like the weapons and everything being like there's 2 of them. There's like what 5 weapons in the whole game or something really low. There might be more than that. I might have just not found them, but
Okay, so I'm trying to like figure out where the line is here, because you said Expedition 33 is good or fine or whatever. What about Automata, which also works the exact same as this game? I don't think that game really has like build variety, does it? It's been a while, but I don't remember.
I can't remember the equipment system enough to talk on it.
It works
it
the same
had
as the chip
some.
system. It works very similarly to the Lumina system, but I just don't remember how much like variety there is and what all of them do.
I think an Automata differentiated not because of the chip system in that game, but because the game itself had more systems that the chips could interact with. So you could have chips that focus on like hacking, or you could have chips that focus on the witch mode berserk that A2 has, instead of just like your slash does 10 more damage. But like the game still had those, you know?
Okay, so then is that like acceptable then?
On the near side, it's more
Yeah.
acceptable than this game because I like this game is just boring. Like you just put some shit on and some numbers go up, and then how do you unlock those things to get more shit? Money. That's it. Like it just felt there's nothing interesting. Like I never felt like, oh, I have enough money to get another chip. Let's see what chip I'm gonna equip. It's just put another health one on, put another health one on, put another health one on.
Yeah.
And just be glad that you were playing with the doubled stamina, because every single time I got a new chip, guess what I was getting? More stamina.
That's when I turned on double stamina. When I got the stamina chip, I was like, fuck you, there's a menu option for this. I'm not fucking using an equip slot.
I mean, so I even with like the journalist stamina, I still put the stamina chips on because I just didn't even want to think about it. So I was like super stamina, man.
I just had 4 stamina cogs equipped at all times, and that pretty much took care of all my issues.
That's funny.
The cog system was pretty cool, I think. I think that's like maybe the one novel thing that exists in this game was the cog system, which I thought worked pretty well.
I didn't hate it. The abundance of revive cogs just made this game even more trivial
Yeah.
than it already was, but
Jesus
it was
Christ.
a fine mechanic.
Yeah, that's what I think sucked about it is that like the best thing to do is just 4 revive cogs.
Yeah.
I mean that's what I did too. I actually got annoyed when I had to like scrap them because I found more than like I was already capped. I already have too many revive cogs. Now I have to scrap these. What if I need them? I did. Spoiler alert! I did
Yeah.
not need them.
Yeah,
like-
I was 3 stamina, 1 revive the entire game.
I do just want to mention, because after you beat the game, you unlock 2 game modes. One is like roguelike dungeon crawl with like randomized loot, and I think the other one is just like a straight up boss rush. And I actually think I might replay this game just to fuck around with those, because I mean, I'm just a fan of the boss rush stuff in general. Like I really like the last boss for that reason. But I thought it was really cool that the game had that stuff, and I'm curious if playing those will cement or alleviate some of the issues we have here.
The roguelike mode sounds cool. I didn't even notice that. I thought I only unlocked New Game Plus and Boss Rush.
Yeah, I saw something. Is that like the dungeon? I think it has the word dungeon in it, right? Like dungeon raid, which like those words by itself. Oh, so that's the roguelike mode.
Yeah, I booted it up and you just choose like a bunch of different items at the start, and then I think you have like an objective that you have to do or something like that, like go to a dungeon and beat it or whatever. And I think it's just like a time trial type of thing.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
Yeah, I mean, because like honestly, the core mechanics of the combat of this game I actually think are pretty fun. It's just like some additional like polish and tuning and balance could have been done to make it much better than it is.
Yeah.
But like the actual framework that's there is pretty good.
Yeah, I think this game would do really well with a sequel where they like expand on a lot of the systems that they have. Because yeah, skeleton is there. It just needed a little bit more meat.
Yeah, I know they're making another game, but I think it's like a third person 3D kind of game instead of being like a 2D Metroidvania.
So as far as I understand, Pixel Punk Studios is literally just two Brazilian women, right? Is that the same thing for the game that they're making? If you
I think
know.
it's just yeah. I mean, I didn't look that deep into it, but I think it's just the same people. So it probably is just the same two people making the
Oh
next one.
yeah. They're making Abyss X Zero, which looks
Yeah,
fucking
that's what
sick
it's
because
called.
it looks like Mega Man Legends. Yeah, I remember this game now.
Yeah,
It has
that's
like a
the
Mega
game for
Man
sure.
Legends style aesthetic, and yeah, I saw
Oh,
that and was like, hell
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, this looks sweet. I remember seeing this now.
Yeah. I'm excited for that game. Regardless of how I'd feel about this game, I would still give that game a shot regardless, just because it looks fucking awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like we've been ragging on this game a little more than how I actually feel about it. I actually thought that this game was like totally fine. It was just a little bit like it just needed a little more oomph, like somewhere, anywhere really. As it stands, it's like just a totally fine game. It just just needed that extra little bit of push somewhere. But I think is like just being made by two people is already like this game's already pretty sweet, but also um, the lady who did the music, this was her first game dev project, I think. Like she was just a musician before this, and she learned like programming and whatever the fuck else she contributed to this because this was her first game dev thing
Nice.
that she did.
That totally tracks because I think the music was probably the best part about the game.
I liked the music, but man, did it feel weird. Am I the only one that feels that way?
The only
Probably
tracks I
cool.
remember are the dungeons, and it was all elevator music. I don't really remember anything else.
No, dude, the boss songs were great. Like the like piano that plays on the ice boss, that song's a fucking banger.
For some reason, I just don't remember those. I just remember the dungeon music because I spent so much time in them, and I just felt like it was all the same, like elevator music. But I also have the B-roll that I can listen to and just listen to how
Yeah.
good the boss battles were. Because that's the same way I felt about Silk Song, where like I kind of didn't really pay attention, but when I was like playing back the B-roll for exporting it out for the Tash video, I was like, wait, this Lace song is fucking
Oh yeah.
amazing.
That song's fucking incredible. But yeah, it made a lot of sense learning that the two people that made this game were Brazilian because the entire soundtrack, like the reason I say it's kind of weird, I like the songs, but it just seems like a really odd choice to put a bunch of city pop and jazz fusion in this game, but also like jazz fusion in Brazil are like peanut butter and jelly, so it makes a little more sense in that perspective, but I don't know. It was just like weird to play this like kind of like neon punk apocalyptic post-apocalyptic whatever the fuck thing as I'm just listening to like Tokyo city pop and fucking jazz fusion the entire time. It was just very it was a very strange mix, but the music itself in a vacuum was good.
Yeah, I think
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think this game's soundtrack is like if Hyper Light Drifter and Crosscodes like developers, it's kind of like that, but like redacted by like probably like 15 years of experience kind of thing. Like 'cause I don't know, I think Crosscode has a nut soundtrack, and I think Hyper Light Drifter, that guy's a lunatic. So this game, I was like, it's serviceable, but I definitely didn't like it compared to those two games. I only bring those two up because I think that those games are very similar to this game.
Yeah, for sure. As I
Yeah,
mentioned
and,
before, this game is very cross-code coded.
Yeah.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. I think the music was the best part about this game, but it's still like, it's not like a top 10 soundtrack kind of game. I don't even know if it's like a top 30 soundtrack kind of game, but I don't know. Like what Thomas was describing with some of the dissonance between the music and the environments. I kind of felt it. I kind of felt it a little bit. Like the game was very colorful. The cast was very eclectic, and it's like a kind of cyberpunky, like rundown city. I don't know. I kind of felt like it worked for me. I have trouble describing why, but yeah, I don't know. I guess I never really felt that dissonance very much. I thought that, like, for example, the last dungeon, how it had the song that switches between like having the lava on or off. I thought that song was fucking awesome for that dungeon. Very fitting.
I guess
that's what I don't like about it.
I guess.
Yeah, go ahead,
Tom. I suppose the easiest way for me to summarize this is that I think if I were to just look at the pixel art of any like random still image from this game, I would say yeah, the music makes sense. But when I think about the dialogue and the journey that this person is on and kind of the somber sort of mood that the whole game sets, like City Pop makes me feel like I'm driving down the streets of fucking Tokyo in a like top-down convertible with my hair blowing in the wind and like Japanese girls on my shoulders or whatever. It doesn't make me think going after an alien in search of my long lost lover, you know?
Yeah, it'd be really weird. Not that I experienced this, but it'd be really weird to hear that kind of like happy poppy music when you go back into town and there's an NPC like in the fetal position about to die because they need their fucking fix.
Yeah, exactly.
It's funny. Yeah,
but at the same time, I don't know if like a super sad and somber soundtrack would work for the opposite of that, where you walk in and there's this like fucking mega buff shirtless dude holding a 10,000-foot sword. Like I don't know, it's kind of odd because it doesn't work in the opposite direction for me either.
I think Disasterpiece would have made something like what I think Tom wants in this game and made it like, yeah, because he's the Hyperlight Drifter guy. That's like what I'm saying. That's why
I was
if he made the soundtrack for this game, it'd be fucking berserk.
I was gonna ask if he was the Hyperlight Drifter guy because I know him as the It Follows guy, which is kind of funny. But yeah,
same. Wasn't he in something else big, like some movie or something?
He's done a lot of stuff now. I think he did some amount of music for like Cyberpunk 2077. He's done a lot of stuff.
Oh, that's sick. But yeah, this game does the annoying game dev thing, which of like layered music. Like I don't like layered music because it always means like you have like a boring track that you need to do something interesting to make it interesting. I want it to just be interesting.
Wait, what do you mean? Describe like layer music.
Ben could probably describe it better than I can, but basically it's just like
think of Baldur's Gate 3 where you're in a certain combat and you have like the boss theme, and if you're doing well then it changes into like an epic boss theme, and if you're losing it turns into like a more desperate boss theme. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, like it'll add instruments and take instruments away based on like what's going on in the game. So basically there will be just like a bass going on. What game did we play that did this? Oh, it was Hades. Like Hades, when all the combat's dead, like only the bass is playing. But then when you go into the next room and then you fight people, then it kicks in the rest of the instruments.
Okay, sure. This game does that?
It did that with the factory, right? Isn't that what we're saying with the factory, where it switches between? There was some track in the game where it did that, where I was like, oh.
If that's an example, it's a pretty soft example. I mean, it's just like one track for lights on and one track for lights off. I don't know if
I would have to listen back again. It was something maybe earlier in the game, but it wasn't egregious like Hades. Like Hades is basically like that incarnate. Everything in the game was designed basically to be like one or two instruments. But yeah, I think. But again, going back to the soundtrack, I think it's fine and serviceable, and for what it is, I think it's great. Like I don't think it's bad by any stretch.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if there's two things in life that I love, it's city pop and jazz fusion. So I'm not complaining about the soundtrack of this game like at all.
All right. Are there any other topics you guys want to touch on? We kind of hit a little bit of everything. I mean, the pixel art is pretty phenomenal. I think it's pretty impressive just how much of it is in this game, personally.
Yeah, I like the boss zoom-ins a lot, but there was one thing that was fucking inexcusable, and that is Alma's dialogue portrait. So there's, I know, I think you guys might know what I'm about to say, but like her braid is animated, and the way that they animated her braid is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. Where the technique they use is like the way that you would animate a stage in an auto-scrolling level of like a shmup or something, where what you do is you stitch together seamlessly like some assets, in this case 2 pieces of braid, and they keep going down the y-axis, and when the bottom one goes off the screen, you quote-unquote teleport it back to the top, or in this case behind Alma's head, and then they both keep cascading down like a waterfall. And that's a fine way to animate an auto-scroll level, but you're not animating an auto-scroll level, you're animating someone's hair. She's not standing in front of a fucking wind tunnel the whole game. Just make like a mostly static braid that sways back and forth. That's all you needed to fucking do. Just put the hair braid in the bag, dude. Like, come on.
100% agree. I actually meant to say something about that, so I'm glad you did.
I don't like
Yeah,
Alma's design at all, personally. I think she looks really like weird and like inconsistent. Like she looks like childish.
Very
in something.
inconsistent.
Yes.
Like it's all over the place, but it's like
she
only
looks
her.
completely different in the main menu than anywhere else.
And yeah, why does she look like a fucking child when she's like lusting and questing over like Dommy Mommy? It's fucking strange. Like
I think I got
looks like her
desensitized
fucking
by
mom.
Fate Stay Night already, so it didn't bother me as much, but I was definitely like, this is
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm gonna give this game enough of the benefit of the doubt to assume that, like, all parties are of like consenting adult age. It's just like she's like half her fucking size, so it just looks weird.
Yeah, and like, my God, I don't know. And like at the start of the game, I don't know. I just kept getting confused by the character model because I thought she was like a cat girl with the braid flowing behind her. Like I thought it was her tail.
That's funny. Yeah, I like the in-game pixel art a lot more than like the full-sized art for most things.
Yeah. Except for the bosses. Those looked cool, but that's it. When it comes into like the zoomed in, like blown up views.
Yeah. I think the head one was stupid, but the rest were cool.
Yeah, the head boss kind of just sucked in general.
Yeah. Here's what I would say. I was when in the very beginning of the game they do that like I don't even know what this trope is called, where they like show you the silhouette of all the bosses. I thought the silhouettes of the bosses looked way cooler than the final products.
Yeah, exactly. I did not like when they actually showed it to you. I was always like, ooh. Go back.
Yeah, a little rough.
I think with all of them, they just like they were a little bit too zoomed in, and the boss looked a little bit too smooth. It was very strange.
Yeah, I can see that. I guess they weren't like dirty enough, maybe.
They just like didn't really feel imposing, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Oh, none
of them really had like a threatening enough design. Like when you see their silhouette, it's like your brain fills this in as something that's gonna be like there's like some primal part of your brain that's like, oh my god, this is a threat and it's going to kill me. But then you see it and it's just this like fucking, I don't even know how to describe it, like fucking Frost from Mortal Kombat with like a monocolored mask covering her face.
Like
literally that. Literally
like, what is intimidating about that? That's what bothers me about it. Yeah.
Maybe it's just me. I still think that that's fine. At least compared to like the Sesame Street characters that you have to look at for the rest of the game. I thought these were perfectly fun.
The design is not bad, but for what it's going for in those little vignettes is not as good.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it too. And to be clear as well, not all of them are created equal. Some of them looked pretty good, like the Project Nova one, I think, if I'm remembering it correctly, looks pretty good. But yeah, most of them just kind of looked silly. Like the art itself is actually pretty good. It's just that kind of like with the music, the visual doesn't fit the mood.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think that the Project Nova boss is another reason that I was like pretty high on the game towards the end, because like you're going through that area and like you see the sword that the signs next to it, the monitors say that they're like crafting, and you're like, oh man, maybe I'm gonna get a big sword upgrade. That would be sick. And like you get the big mech and you upgrade it and you start fighting the boss and it summons in that sword that you wish you had to kill the mech. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that was a pretty dope part.
I feel like they put all their chips in that boss's basket because, yeah, I think that was even cooler than the final boss. I think the final boss was kind of what the fuck ever.
Yeah.
Agreed.
With the final boss, as soon as it like when it had you fighting two bosses at once, I was like, oh fuck, this might actually be kind of hard. But then it switches, and it switched into the three head boss, and I was like, oh, this fight's just over now.
Yeah. Comparatively, though, I think the Frost boss was probably the hardest one. I think that boss was super, super cool. That was my favorite one by a lot.
What the hell did that boss even do? I don't even remember it.
It summoned like spikes in an X pattern. It had the ice platform. It did a big circle around it like the jellyfish.
I don't know. I must be cracked because that thing got bodied.
I mean,
I
none
like
of them
the
were
boss
hard, to
design.
be clear, but
I like the boss design for sure, but yeah, I think that they kind of didn't let you play against them enough. Like they didn't feel threatening enough in gameplay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just too easy. This game
Yeah.
had just a little bit too much of a too easy problem.
Yeah, I was just wondering how frustrated I would be if I actually died to a boss because it never happened. But like,
Yeah.
where would you respawn? Like, I was just curious about that because like, would you have to, like, what would the run back be like? That seems like it'd be miserable. So I was actually kind of glad that I never experienced it.
Bro, the run back to the Eagle boss is miserable. It is bad.
Oh, I actually did die to
Jesus.
that one. I think that's the only boss I
Yeah.
died to. Yeah, that did suck.
Because those ads suck until you realize that parrying is the strat for them.
Yep.
But yeah, the run back was horrible for that boss.
Yeah, when you were talking, someone mentioned something about how there's like enemies that like take way too much damage unless you parry them, and the enemy that came to mind immediately that I didn't mention was those harpies that are in that boss. Like those things are a pain in the fucking cock, but once you just like say, "All right, fuck it, I'm just gonna parry all of them," then they become nothing.
Yeah.
I use the gun for a lot of things, and I use the ice sword for going through the overworld because the description said that it freezes small enemies, but what I noticed is that it basically froze every enemy. So I guess every enemy is defined as a small enemy unless it's a boss, and that just made the game like really, really easy.
That's funny. Yeah, I used the lightning sword because it lowers defense, so it did a ass fuck of damage. And then on the secondary, I just had like literally whatever the best available freeze weapon was. It went from like freeze grenade to the ice shuriken to the like cryo jet or whatever it's called for exactly what you're talking about, Ben.
I just used like the flame blade the whole time, and I was using the pistol early on, but then basically once I had to start moving through things, I just stopped using sub weapons and just flame bladed everything until I got the big one.
I did have I did have an enjoyable time when I was using flame blade plus shotgun. That was a good time when I was doing that and not parrying.
I hate like rhythmic timed reload mechanics.
Yeah, that's why I only started really using guns after I got the chip that said you reload every time you land a melee hit. Because yeah, I basically only ever did that rhythmic reload out of combat.
Yeah, and honestly, it wasn't even that it was like hard. It was actually like pretty simple to do, honestly, but I hate having to do it. It's just an annoyance. Like the worst part of like any game with a reload is having to reload. Why are you adding a extra button onto that?
It actually is like doubly offensive in this game because not only did they do that, but they also gave you the ability, quote unquote, ability to reload when the ammo is full, and it'll still like bring up the mini game and everything.
Oh yeah.
That's silly.
Yeah, I
It
remember
just
that.
feels really
That's
dumb, and it's
peculiar.
really frustrating when you're like exploring and you accidentally press that button.
Yep.
You're just like, God damn it! Now I can't like just in case I needed to fight real quick, I can't because I'm stuck in the reload animation.
Meh.
Yeah, it's actually not a big deal at all.
What other games did this studio do like before this? Did they do anything?
I think this was their
None.
first game, period.
Yeah,
The
because
first
like
game
I
on
said,
Steam.
the one girl, it was her first game dev project, but I didn't know if Tiani Pixel, I think her name is, I forget, had any like other projects under her belt.
Well, I assume she did because like I don't think this is the kind of game you just shit out as like your Babby's first project. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
yeah, for
like
sure.
like I'm sure like she's made plenty of games, but like maybe not actually released to the public if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, maybe like some small fucking like itch.io games or some shit. Yeah, and that
Yeah,
would just be me. That's just me talking out of my ass. I don't know. She could have made fucking Minecraft for all I know.
yeah, yeah. We just might be wrong. I didn't do any research on this. I just assumed that it was kind of just their first project, first official one at least.
Yeah, I haven't been able to find anything.
I don't see anything public.
Well, shit. If this was both of their first game release, then honestly, that is like I'm gonna bump up my rating for that shit because that's actually fucking impressive.
Oh, it
Yeah, it's a
definitely is
solid first
impressive for
game.
sure. Like they should definitely be proud of what they've done.
Yeah. No, oh
And
yeah.
again, there's
Absolutely, no doubt.
there's a lot of stuff in this game that I just wouldn't expect from a first time game. Like again, specifically the boss rush and the dungeon raid game modes at the end. Like that stuff is really cool, and some of the like sequence breaky considerations they made for
Yeah.
speedrunners, I think is very cool.
I think that's kind of where this game would shine if you wanted to play it multiple times and go through kind of like the different ways that you could do things in, because it definitely seems like the game is designed to kind of be like a non-linear, what can you do out of order kind of game.
Mm-hmm.
We obviously none of us even got close to that side of the game, but that kind of like that's why the crafting system exists, right? I think the crafting system is terrible and stupid and only exists because Minecraft has that crafting system. But with what Seth said at the start of this, it makes a lot of sense that you can use that crafting system to get access to things earlier than you normally would through like knowing the information. So I think that's cool. But in a vacuum of that system existing, I think it's terrible.
Yeah, I think if the game like used that as a mechanic more, where like I don't know, just like spitballing, like if there was like a time loop mechanic or some bullshit, and it's like, oh, now I know the blueprint for this item, so I can craft it at the start of my run instead of having to like
Yeah,
run to somewhere. Like that kind of thing would be cool if they played with it.
exactly. I think it's if you really like the game, then I think there's a lot of cool shit like that in there for you. But as a first playthrough, I think it's kind of like a Sonic the Hedgehog kind of thing. Like the first playthrough is gonna be a little mad, but the more playthroughs you do, the more you appreciate what's there.
Yeah, I agree. Because there's definitely a lot of points in this game where I thought like, um, I'm actually fuck it. I'm just gonna watch the speedrun for this game tomorrow because I'm like actually really curious because it did seem like there were a lot of avenues for sequence breaking and
Oh
like
yeah.
doing some really like pretty wild shit.
I mean, knowing the whatever you guys said, double tap run to refill stamina or whatever sounds insane as is.
It's probably not as good as you think. Like I like it's cool that it's there, but I hardly even was able to use it in combat because you have to like completely stop moving and then there's an animation for it happening.
Oh, okay.
So it's like it can be useful, but yeah, it's not.
So it's not
amazing.
busted. I thought it was just like a way to instant refresh. So you could
I
just
mean,
do
like
like crazy combos.
Oh yeah, no, you can't like use it to like chain infinitely or anything like
Right.
that. But I'm sure there's some cool stuff you could do with it.
I'm sure there's some kind of like busted weapon combo of like crazy slash attack, charge attack, something or other.
Mhm.
Because I never interface with charge attacks, but usually that's where like the hidden shit is to just do like half a boss's health bar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, infinite sword glitch and all that. All right. Well, Thomas, do you want to do your kind of zooming out question still, or do you just want to move to ratings?
Oh, I mean, I can throw it out there. I don't know if you guys really thought about it, but I guess the thing that I was saying was this game felt like it was very like artist forward, where a lot of the like art assets, art design, music design, everything associated with the actual art and presentation of this game felt like it took more of a front seat than the actual design of the game did. Now, uh, in the OneNote, I said like where you guys thought that this game falls on the slider from what did I put Edith Finch to Tactical Nexus. I think that this game is probably somewhere more like in the middle part, but um, I'm just sort of curious what you guys think in general about games like that, where it is like very clearly the artist won most of the like design decisions over like the actual game designer, and where this game falls on that, and if it would have been better served going in one direction or the other, and just like leaning into something where it could have maybe been a bit more interesting on the gameplay side, or leaning more into like the artistry side to kind of just again lean into what I feel like is more of this game's strength. So yeah, take it away. I don't know if you guys thought about that at all after I put it in there, but
I mean, I think this game is pretty close to like Tactical Nexus in terms of a game. I don't think this game is anything near like a walking sim or anything. I don't think that it has fully
Yeah,
fleshed out systems or anything like that, but I think it is through and through a game.
yeah, I was kind of confused by the question because I was looking at the examples you cited in games like Grease, Journey, especially Kentucky Road Zero. Like compared to Unsighted, I feel like those aren't even games, and like yeah,
Yeah.
I just feel like Unsighted is very much like a video gamey video game.
yeah, so to be clear, I'm not saying that this game is like that. I'm just saying, or I'm not saying that this game has like a similar like lack of gameplay as those. I'm just saying that this is definitely a game where the focal point was the art initially and the story that they wanted to tell and the presentation that they wanted to give it. I think definitely felt like more of what they wanted to like it's a top-down design, right? Like this game
Yeah,
felt very
yeah.
much like it was designed top-down rather than bottom up.
Okay, yeah,
And
I can agree with that for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking at it. Like the example that came to mind is I don't know if you guys have heard of this game, Manifold Garden.
Yeah.
It's like this puzzle game, like pretty Portal inspired, where the idea is that I can't remember the word. Does it have it here? It doesn't have it here, but it's like looping fractals is the idea. You're in like a three-dimensional space, and in order to do some of the platform, you have to like jump down and loop back to the top of the platform that you're on. Um, and that's a game which I would definitively call a game. Like it's not a walking sim; it's definitely a puzzle game, and like it's not the hardest puzzle game, but it's a game. But it is a game that's top down, like you're describing. But I think that game is more top down than Unsighted is. Like Unsighted has a lot of art assets and it's there, but it doesn't really feel like the guiding principle of the game in a way that something like Manifold Garden is for me. So like if I were to give an answer to the question, like if it was like a 1 to 10, it'd probably be like a 6 or a 7.
yeah, I can see that. I just think I don't know. I guess it's maybe just how kind of generic and boring I find a lot of the gameplay aspects of this game that sort of led me to walking down the path of this question. But like, it definitely, this game absolutely 110% to me felt like two artists making a game, not two game designers making a game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that feels like a real insult for whichever one of them was the designer.
I mean, I'm sure that they both like did it, but I mean, I feel like I've been pretty honest about. I feel like the gameplay of this game is pretty fucking boring.
Yeah, I think that's from a lack of experience on their side more than a lack of like wanting or anything.
Oh, sure. I mean, again, if this is their first project, like they fucking like knocked it out of the park, and
Yeah.
yeah, they like deserve all the credit in the fucking world for just being two people. But I don't know, any fucking less boring.
Yeah, I don't really blame them. They like try to do some things. And again, I think the real design went into replay value, which we don't get that experience of. Like I don't feel like that this was even like lazy or anything. If anything, I felt like it was just inexperience that led them to the decisions that they had. I don't feel like it was like, well, I don't feel like it doesn't feel like Hello Charlotte at all to me, where it's like I can make art, but I don't know how to make this art into a game. Like it felt like they had both.
Yeah, that is true. That is definitely true. Like they I guess the issue that I take is that it feels like a lot of the gameplay of this game was them just plucking things from other games and just applying the kind of most like surface level characteristics of those
Sure.
games and not really piling anything noteworthy on top of it. Like anyone could say, let's make a top down Zelda game, let's add a parry mechanic, and let's like add fucking the Lumina system to it or whatever. It's
That'd be sick.
it's what Well, that's what this game is. It's literally okay.
You say
A
Lumina
stripped
system.
down Lumina system.
Yeah,
okay?
that's the thing. If I could be bananas, if I could be like a spinner that was the size of the room, that like when I used it, the game crashed, I'm in.
But the point is, like, that's what I'm saying though, is that they took like this game is not something like a I think a core thing with a lot of indie games like this, like small team developed games like this, is this game more than the sum of its parts? Because when you only have like one, two, three, whatever people developing a game, like everything kind of has to come together, because what you don't make up for, or what you can't make up for with budget, you can make up for with good ideas and good implementation. And this game, like, it has some good ideas, it just doesn't really have a good implementation of those ideas, because like I said, they're just like, let's make a top-down Zelda game, let's add a Lumina system, let's add this, let's add this, let's add this from all these other games, but they don't go like an extra step to actually make it their own. It's just kind of those things without, again, that extra like layer of personal touch added to it that gives it some degree of individuality. Where they did that is in all the art and the story and the music and all that shit.
Yeah, and it kind of makes sense that like a lot of the mechanics are superficial because I actually Googled this game briefly right before we did this podcast, and it was like a pseudo interview, like not a full interview, maybe it was like a tweet by the developers where originally the game was designed to be like really difficult and action packed. It's just like all action all the time and just worrying about the timer. But since this game was being developed during COVID and they didn't want to like make depressed people's lives even harder, they added like a bunch of cozy stuff. They added all the journalist accessibility options at that point. So it became like a different game. And I feel like just adding in all
Oh,
those mechanics is what made them kind of like add them kind of superficially because it was just such a they added like a lot of things like that, like a lot of those cozy things, and it's just to put them in there as opposed to like thinking through and being like, does this game really need this?
that's very interesting. Because I do kind of think the one thing that I would say would be to like that would be what they would need to do, right? All the music should be suspenseful, intense, like that you need to build an experience around basically anxiety because that's the main mechanic that they went with, but it makes a lot of sense that they reeled that back and now they have this kind of like conflicting game basically of like city pop jazz fusion and like everything you know is going to die if you don't hurry the fuck up.
Yeah, exactly.
So like, but yeah, that would be an interesting game because I think if they went hard in one direction, this game would be mixed on Steam, but the people who like it would love it.
Yeah, in a way, that kind of makes me look forward to their next game because I feel like it'll be more focused, or at least perhaps not have the
Yeah.
externalities that this game apparently had.
Yeah,
I
this
think
game
that's definitely the problem.
definitely
Go
this
ahead,
game
Tom.
definitely has a lot of talent behind it, like for sure. Like, again, I know I've been maybe a little harder on this game than maybe I should have, but yeah, these two ladies know what they're doing for sure.
Yeah, especially for like a first game and everything, and like doing it during COVID and all of that. Like even for other small games like Tunic and everything, had way more people that work on games like that than this. So like for two people to be able to produce something like this, even though it's not fantastic, I think it's really admirable and awesome.
100% agreed.
Well, hell yeah. Why don't we jump into ratings then? You guys got any last thoughts before we do that?
Good to start rating.
Yeah, I think I'm good.
Why don't we mix it up a little bit? We'll go bottom to top. We'll start with Ben.
Sure. Um, Despite like how critical I've been, I actually rather enjoyed this game, and I kind of have a hot take about this rating because, and this is obviously very just personal to me, but I got more personal enjoyment out of this game than Silksong, and it's mostly because I was able to beat it. And as such, it will be reflected in the score. I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10.
Jesus Christ, that was so far away.
How the fuck? There's no way.
so
Man,
far
What
away.
the fuck?
I'm so
I
far
changed it
away.
from 8. I changed it from 8.
I
Damn
did
it.
I thought
On the
Ben was
money.
gonna continue the Jordan's rating scale rubbed off on me.
No, not on this one.
Yeah.
I respected what they accomplished way too much to give them just like the craftsmanship points of 6 out of 10.
Oh, for sure.
Man,
It definitely
yeah.
makes sense.
I was close to that. I almost nailed it.
Almost, but no cigar.
You're
All right.
upset.
As for me, I feel like my rating with this game was like kind of a roller coaster. At some points, I was all the way down to like a 4 or a 4.5 in the like kind of middle slow sections where the game loop just wasn't really doing it for me, and like the dungeons felt a little half baked to me, and like nothing was really coming together. Um, I was kind of positive on the game when I started, and then it went down when like the stamina system started getting in its own way, but then that went up when I got the spinner because the spinner was really fun. Although I stopped using the spinner once I got other stuff, but it was still nice to have. And also that feeling of getting the spinner went away completely when I realized it was just ripping off all of the dungeon items from Zelda, which was kind of lame. Like, at least give me something new, please. Maybe? No? Okay, cool. We're just gonna take the double hook shot instead of something new for the last item in the game. Okay, that's fine. But I can at least say all of those things, all of those items are improved from the Zelda games in which they were stolen from. So they may not have innovated, but they at least made them feel better. But yeah, other than that, it was pretty much just a constant upstream for me in terms of enjoyment and quality. I thought the boss rush at the end of the game was sick. I thought that the last dungeon was pretty cool for the most part. It was probably the best dungeon. I thought the frost boss was a highlight for me. Really cool boss, I thought. And again, even though we're not really going to be doing it for this, I just have to give some extra points for the extra game modes that unlock at the end. Not New Game Plus, don't care about that. But the boss rush and the dungeon raid seem really cool, and I'm probably going to play a little bit more just to see what those are about. And then, even tonight, as you mentioned, like the COVID thing and how they changed a lot of their design philosophies around that, I think that's cool. So I'm going to give it another half point for that. And I'm going to settle at a 7.5.
I don't think I was even close.
I am
Yeah.
God.
God
Wow, you
damn
thought I
it.
hated this game.
Yeah.
There is something I do want to mention about like the Zelda cribbing, and I kind of like touched upon it earlier where I said I don't have any nostalgia for like Nintendo products at all. I thought like all of those power-ups were pretty novel because I don't have that nostalgia, you know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense
Yeah,
to you guys,
and
since you guys, I
Yeah.
assume, have played a lot of Zelda, but like I thought all those items are cool as fuck, and it was the first time I ever saw them.
yeah, it totally makes sense to have that feeling if you haven't played those games, but just know that every single one of those items was 1-to-1 stolen from the
Yeah,
Zelda game.
that makes
Every single
sense.
one.
Yeah,
I'm
the
just never gonna
Beyblades from
play them,
Twilight
and the
Princess.
magic will stay forever.
Yeah, like literally nothing about the spinner was different in this game compared to Zelda, other than it felt a little bit better to ride around on. And
Can you
it's the
ride
same with the
around it on
double
the
hook
Twilight
shots.
Princess? I thought it was only on walls,
Yeah,
but I can't remember. Okay.
no, you can like hop on it, and it's like maybe a little bit faster, but it slows down really fast.
The worst thing about it in this game was whenever you hit anything, you bounce back and just lost all your momentum and had to regain it
Yep.
again.
Yeah.
That shit
That
was
was
awful.
when you just jumped out of it
Jumped
and then
off.
jumped
Yeah,
back into it. Yeah.
exactly.
Also, the worst part of that power up is something I never talked about in this game that was kind of annoying, which was I don't like when isometric games try to do perspective. So, like in the on rails part of the fucking top thing where you had to go
Oh,
between
true.
the fucking like platforms that goes up and down. God damn, that annoyed the hell out of me.
Yeah, I think I mentioned it in the OneNote. I think this game had a lot of like hitbox issues related to angles, kind of like that. Like I think the Project Nova boss had that really bad as well, where the hitbox didn't really line up with what it looked like because of the angle you were at.
The one time it was cool was when the laser bridge to the meteor tower or whatever at the very end opens up and you walk into like the background. That looked cool.
Yeah.
True. Jordan, you're up.
Yeah. I don't have much to say other than like in the middle of this game, I was like down to like a 1.5 on it because like everything was just so annoying. But I think kind of how the game ended was like extremely satisfying for me because how I mentioned earlier of it just instead of doing like the you didn't do enough to have a good ending, it was just like, oh, this is nice and there's still something for the characters to do. And I think like that really like kind of recovered the whole experience for me. Um, and I don't actively hate the game or anything, and again, I think it's super admirable for what they did. Especially knowing the redesign, like that puts it into perspective completely that I would need to like think about some more for like how insane that is. But yeah, for me, something else that I forgot to kind of bring up was how terrible I thought the platforming was. I think Tom's video that he posted kind of like exemplifies that a little bit of just, yeah, you do all this platforming, but like it gets kind of clunky and like you could easily just fall off and have to redo this clunky platforming, which I really didn't like. So for me, like it's fine, and I think it's like a super admirable thing, but it's only a 4.5.
Oh, I can't remember if I was 5 or 5.5. Fuck!
No, you were
And I
closest
thought
at least.
4.5. I thought 4.5 and I deleted it and I went higher. Damn it.
Yeah, I gotta like shave off a point every time I'm thinking about rating for Jordan.
Every time, yeah. All right, Thomas, you're up.
Yeah, I guess I'm the same. I didn't really find anything like particularly remarkable about this game. I didn't find anything particularly bad about this game. This was like honestly just one of the most it's fine experiences of my entire life. The combat was fun. It was tuned poorly, but like the mechanics were okay. The dungeoneering aspects were okay. It's nothing I've never seen before and nothing I'm like clamoring for, but yeah, I have nothing of like note to say about this game because there's really nothing particularly noteworthy about this game, to be quite honest with you. Some of the art was cool, story was boring, characters were fine, but yeah, at the end of the day, like I said, this is a game that I think is kind of going to go in one ear and out the other. But for being a two-person project, anytime I think someone pulls something off like this with just two people, especially if it was their first project, I think that's actually pretty fucking incredible. And their next game, I did not realize that this was them, and that's pretty exciting because that game actually looks really cool. What is it? Alpha X Zero, I think it's called.
Abyss X Zero.
Abyss.
Abyss X Zero, yeah, that game looks cool. But yeah, two-person project for their first project, as far as I am aware. Even if this game was not like the most outstanding thing I've ever played in my life by any stretch of the imagination, um, it's still pretty fucking outstanding for two people. But regardless of that, it's still going to be a 6.5 out of 10.
Was that
That's
what I
the one
guessed?
I was the
What did I
closest
guess?
to. Yeah, it was still
Is that what
low.
I guessed? Oh,
Yeah.
so close.
That was close enough.
I take the point.
Damn, I zeroed it tonight. Fucking A.
I think I did too.
I don't know. This game wasn't the like polarizing game that I kind of expected it to be, which is interesting. It does some it has some like very strange mechanics, like the characters dying after a certain amount of time. You'd think that would make some of us hate it, some of us love it, but it kind of just middled for everyone. It seems like.
I mean, I don't know. I just, like I said when I was talking about my review, like I don't think that this game didn't do enough of anything in like one direction or another to really earn some like level of polarity. Like there's just nothing. It
Yeah.
it just doesn't go whole hog in any particular
Yeah.
direction.
I imagine the rewrites have something to do with that because I bet they wanted to go a lot more hardcore with it, but then dialed it back for what Ben mentioned, which makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense because
Yeah.
that system
Yeah.
feels like it's just kind of there.
Well, in any case, that was Unsighted. I believe Jordan has the next pick. Would you like to announce it?
Yeah, next week we're going to be playing Dead Estate, which is like a roguelike in kind of the essence of Enter the Gungeon or Binding of Isaac, where you just kind of go around a mansion and you try to get out of the zombie-infested mansion. And yeah, we're going to be playing that next week because it looks like a cool game and it's got Big Titty Lady, so what's not to like?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, it does.
I got my whole like standing desk set up with my walking pad going, and let me just say, this was not a good game to try and learn how to play video games and walk at the same time.
Oh yeah, especially with like the accuracy mechanic where the shots don't go exactly when you
Mhm.
shoot.
Yeah, I was worried I was gonna like. There were a couple times where I was like trying to focus, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I got to step."
All I'm going to say about this game is that I really look forward to the thumbnail that Ben is going to make for it.
Well, GG.
Alrighty. Bye.